Hi guys, it's Tablet-News.com and I'm here with a tablet called the ASUS MeMo Pad HD7. We previously reviewed the ASUS MeMo Pad FHD 10 and now we're reviewing the 7-inch tablet launched at Computex last month. Well, this device is priced at $149 in the 16GB version. It's a 7-inch tablet with a quad-core CPU inside, and as I said, it was announced in early June at Computex 2013. It's a pretty big upgrade compared to the MeMo Pad 7, especially as far as the performance goes. Let's talk about the design. The device measures 10.8 millimeters in thickness and it weighs 302 grams, so it's very light. The color options are varied and they include blue, white, pink, green, this is lime, and gray. So this is the lime green version. Now I'm going to show you the ports, slots, buttons and other stuff on this device. So we've got the micro USB port and audio jack right here at the top, interestingly enough. At the top, not at the bottom as one would expect for the micro USB jack. And between the audio and the micro USB there's a tiny little microphone just between them, and then we've got the front camera right here at the top, and on the side we find the on-off button and the volume button. So on the other side the micro SD card slot, 5 megapixel camera, ASUS logo. Here we got a bunch of stereo speakers that are actually pretty strong, and that's pretty much it as far as the design is concerned. Pretty slim tablet, pretty light tablet, of course not as slim as the Sony Xperia Tablet Z, but slim enough. This is a plastic case, you can hear that, but the grip is quite decent and quite good, and so is the build quality. Overall the design reminds me of the Nexus 7 just a little bit, and as I said, I find it unusual that there are no ports at the bottom part. Of course the device tends to be a bit of a fingerprint magnet, even the back side, not only the front side, but that's not a huge problem if you find a proper case for it. So overall the build is solid, the device is light, reasonably slim, made of plastic, and the price tag is pretty good. You can easily hold it with one hand, yet another big advantage of this device. On the hardware side we start with the fact that we don't have automatic brightness on this device. As you can see here, there is no automatic brightness control at the top, and you should probably know the code name of the device, it's ME173X. Now continuing the specs list, inside this tablet, well, we've got what we can call a quad-core CPU from MediaTek. It's the MT8125 MediaTek quad-core CPU at 1.2 GHz frequency. This one is a Cortex A7 and the GPU here is a Power VR SGX 544. We also get 1 gig of DDR3 RAM, and the storage on this device is 16 GB, completed by a micro SD card slot with support for 32 GB extra. Of course we have a cloud solution, that's the ASUS web storage, and it offers you 16 GB more. And what else I can say, that 16 GB is available for about a year. Other options on this device include Wi-Fi connectivity, Bluetooth 4.0, and display. You can see right here is a 7-incher with orientation 16:10 and a resolution of 1280 over 800 pixels. This is a 10-finger multi-touch screen, an IPS display, and now some more details about the backside. 5 megapixel camera right here, 1.2 megapixel camera here, dual speaker setup here. We have a GPS inside, e-compass, G-sensor, and I like to talk a bit about the battery. One of the most impressive aspects of this 7-inch tablet is actually the battery, and we have some screenshots to prove it. We actually took a lot of screenshots of the battery life. Okay, so what I can say is that we have a 3950 mAh unit, or a 15 Wh unit, lithium polymer. On paper we're promised about 10 hours of functioning time. You should know that the tablet will charge from 0 to 100% in 3 hours and a half. These are our sequential tests. Start off at 90%, proceed at 78%, 56%, and so on and so forth, till we deplete half of the battery life, and check it out, 10 hours. You can easily achieve 2 days of usage with this tablet if you properly manage it. So after 1 hour of YouTube HD playback, you lose 10%. After 14 minutes of gaming, you lose 10%. And after 1 hour of Full HD filming, you lose 10%. Those one were our results when testing the battery life of the tablet. It's a fantastic battery, and as I said, I easily reached 2 days of battery life with this tablet, losing 10% each time I played 40 minutes of gaming, watched 1 hour of YouTube videos, or filmed 1 hour of Full HD. So very impressive battery, keep that in mind. Of course, aside from the battery, there's the advantage of the power saving option. So you get power management here, the power saver option here. You can customize your profile. You can activate the smart saving with an ultra saving mode, optimized mode, or customized mode. This one you can tweak. The idea is simple. The ultra saving mode will maximize the battery life and disconnect the network connection when the device is suspended. Or you can go with the performance mode and customize your experience so you get more performance and more battery depletion. Now I'm going to move on to the audio side. As usual, I'm going to rely on SoundCloud for a nifty playback experience. Okay, SoundCloud is here, and I'm going to search for a track that's pretty hard to spell. Okay, it's a remix, and those stereo speakers actually impressed me quite a lot. So this is it, it's an Arcasia remix. This is the maximum volume. Speakers right here. Okay, now some conclusions. We have excellent bass and very good high notes. There is no distortion. The volume is quite impressive, and frankly I find this device to be a tad louder than the iPad mini. There's also that customization that can be triggered here. Is the audio wizard, so you have a music mode, power saving mode, movie mode, recording mode, gaming mode, and speech mode. Each one changes the music experience. So if I were to go to SoundCloud yet again and hit play, power saving, music, movie, recording, gaming. And if you want to thank someone for this, well, aside from the ASUS engineers, the folks in Bang and Olufsen also got involved in this nifty technology, and the tablet comes with Sonic Master audio technology. Okay, now on the video side of things, I'm going to play here a Full HD MP4 file. The usual rabbit video. This screen is once again a 7-inch IPS. It's a resolution of 1280 over 800 pixels, pixel density of 216 ppi, and 170 degrees of viewing angles. As you can see, quite good viewing angles, typical for an IPS, as we all know. Other stuff worth mentioning is that the device can easily play Full HD files without lagging. The colors are natural. The screen is pretty bright, but there's no auto brightness, as I said. And if you really want to tweak your experience, there's an app for that. Okay, the app is called ASUS Splendid. Should be here somewhere. Okay, so as I said, you can tweak your screen experience. I'm holding the tablet long, it appears. Okay, so you can change the temperature, you can enhance your hue, saturation, color, temperature, and all that if you really want to tweak your display experience. Aside from ASUS Splendid, I must show you some pictures that allow us to evaluate the screen better. So let's exit this. Some pictures taken with the aid of a microscope. Here we go. So using the microscope we have figured some details out. The tablet is able to output screen with a maximum brightness of 330 lux units. The pixels have the RGB stripe arrangement. The contrast is good, but in the sunlight the tablet doesn't really impress, if you ask me. And also there is a slight little bit of backlight bleed on the side. Don't know if you can see, but I'm going to try and zoom in so you can see the backlight bleed. It's only a slight one and it's very hard to see, but I'm going to try and show it to you. Once again, a very tiny and slight backlight bleed that can only be seen from certain angles, and if you ask me, it's not a huge problem, but people may find that an issue if they want perfect quality on their tablets. Okay, so that's it as far as the screen is concerned, and now the biggest surprises of all. I'm sure you didn't expect this from a tablet that costs so little. The camera. That's a pretty big surprise. Going to use the snail. And just like on the ASUS MeMo Pad FHD 10, there's a slight problem with the autofocus when the tablet really tries to focus on a certain device. You can see that the options on the left side will disappear for a moment. Right now we're in video filming mode. I was impressed by the huge number of options we have available. So panorama, beautification, HDR, a huge number of scenes, then a lot of effects, nostalgia, lomo, sepia, even a vampire mode, negative, under the sea, night vision goggles, and that was what I was talking about, the disappearing of the options in favor of the focusing. Camera resolution, widescreen option, some exposure settings, white balance, ISO going up to 800, pretty impressive for a tablet. The shutter mode, normal or touch shutter, self timer, burst shot, even that is activated. Focus mode, smart autofocus, face detection or infinity. So a lot of options, especially for a tablet. Here's a sample of zooming. Quite a decent amount of zooming, so let's actually take a picture. Not the fastest picture taking experience in the world, but still, it's a tablet, and the picture is not that bad actually. Once again, a pleasant surprise on this ASUS tablet was the camera. Okay, now the really impressive part was the filming. This tablet can film in Full HD, as shown right here, and it's Full HD at 20 frames per second. The quality is very close to the iPad mini, which is a huge compliment. Now I'm going to show you a gallery. So let's go to the gallery. I have a huge amount of samples to show you. Okay, so camera and a lot of videos. As you can see, we have slight previews of the videos in real time. A testimony of the power of this tablet. So one of the videos is this one, Full HD, 5 megapixel camera, no flash. As you just saw, it's very easy to put your finger in front of the camera by mistake. And then can be done easily. Let me show you. There's no defined bump here, so it's easy to pass your finger like this since there's no clear bump. Anyway, the Full HD capture was brilliant. I'm going to show you that in the text review, and the pictures are not that bad as well, which I'm going to show you in a minute now using the ASUS Story application. Another option for the gallery, excuse me, not ASUS Story but ASUS Studio. A tiny mistake from me. Okay, so suppose we go to the picture taken earlier with the snail. You can also edit it using some of the options here, like some filters you can add, some frames, processing of all kinds. And believe it or not, this tablet even takes decent pictures indoors. Like this one, picture of a cat, picture taken indoor without a flash, and still pretty reasonable. So we're dealing with quite a good camera as usual from ASUS. I should probably say that this tablet's camera beats 99% of all the cameras on tablets that are priced below $200. So that pretty much sums it up, and it rivals the iPad mini's camera in a pretty nice fashion. Going to the settings area now to show you a bit of software. We're running Android 4.2.1 on this tablet, and we've even got a section for ASUS customized settings, like the fact that we can associate the screenshot option to the multitasking recent apps, some ASUS quick settings, enable smart backlight adjuster, and other options like that. And now one of your favorite parts, I guess, reaching out for the gallery. and seeing what the benchmark results are. You're probably curious regarding the devices I decided to compare this tablet to. Well, they're actually pretty predictable. One of them is the Nexus 7 and the other is a tablet very similar to this one. So this is the ASUS MeMo Pad HD7 and I'm comparing it with the Acer Iconia A1 and the Nexus 7. In quadrant we scored 3,925 points, beating the Acer Iconia A1 that scored 3,900 points, also beating the Nexus 7 that scored 3,700 points. Next up, Antutu, 12,472 points. We beat the Acer Iconia A1 with its 12,400 points, and we got beaten by the Nexus 7 but only by 300 points. In Nanomark, pretty impressive, 46 frames per second. We got beaten by the Acer Iconia, but that one has a smaller resolution and a bigger screen. 51 frames per second, that's the score of that model, and of course Nexus 7, 55 frames per second. Next up, Velamo, impressive score, 1476. We beat the Acer tablet by 100 points, got beaten by the Nexus 7 with 1600 points. The most relevant benchmark of all, 3D Mark, impressive score, 3162 points. Here we beat the Acer Iconia A1 by 20 points, so very close, and the Nexus 7 beat us by 400 points, as was expected since the Tegra 3 is a very good CPU. Finally, as far as the browser experience goes, 2186 points. We beat the Acer Iconia A1 by 200 points and the Nexus 7 by 500 points, which is very impressive. And one last mention, since the scores of the Acer and the ASUS tablet were so close, you should know that they have pretty much the same CPU, a quad-core MediaTek processor. Now, as far as the browser is concerned, here it is, and we can also see the virtual keyboard, pretty comfy to use. Let's see it in landscape as well. So virtual keyboard in landscape, and now let's access our website, Tablet-News.com. Lots of symbols here. Let's try again. Here we go, Tablet-News.com. Loaded reasonably fast. As the previous benchmark showed, browser Mark 2.0, we're dealing with a pretty fast browser. As you can see, the scrolling is pretty smooth. Pinch to zoom, absolutely no problem. And this is what the screen looks like in the browser in portrait mode. So no problem with the browser whatsoever. We actually like the fact that we have a numeric row above the normal QWERTY keyboard, which is always a plus. Okay, now I must show you the system called floating apps. You saw it in the review of the ASUS MeMo Pad FHD10. The idea is simple, it's yet another level of multitasking, so you can trigger the stopwatch, the video player, and the unit converter, and use them all at the same time. If you want to play a video, move it on the screen, continue doing something else, convert a unit, start the stopwatch, maybe access another app, and in the meantime you can do stuff using those floating applications that I just mentioned. Well, you can also edit them, so you can eliminate them if you want to by pressing that X, or you can add more from a pretty big list. Once again, if you haven't been following us from the beginning, this is the ASUS MeMo Pad HD7 7-inch tablet with a very good price. And now let's talk a bit about the temperature of the device. So we have a shot here in the download section. We use the thermometer to measure the behavior of the tablet. As you can see, the maximum temperature achieved was 36.3 degrees Celsius, and that was achieved when we were doing Wi-Fi streaming of Full HD content using YouTube. I should also mention that this model doesn't lag like the older MeMo Pad 7-inch tablet, and I also tried the USB port for an USB on the go functionality. Well, it doesn't have that support, in case you're wondering, but I did find something interesting, this time related to the interface. If you pinch it, like I just did, you'll trigger a sort of scenes mode, like the older HTC Sense scenes. These are use modes. We have one for work, one for entertainment, and a new mode that you can customize. So if you want to enter the entertainment mode, this one allows you to use the tablet with a different wallpaper, a set of multimedia apps, a shortcut to YouTube clips. Then we have the work mode with Gmail and the file manager, web storage, and a calendar. You can even create your very own mode for your children or for yourself, sort of like use profiles, and you really have to try and pinch properly in order to trigger them. Okay, the main mode is the ASUS one that we were using earlier, but it's pretty nice to see that we have such a degree of customization. So you can use these modes, as I said, for the kids, for your wife, a mode for your work, and stuff like that. I should mention that the MeMo Pad FHD10 had a mode like this as well. Okay, so now I'm going to show you some of the widgets that come with the device. We have one for the battery here, one for the task manager. These are specifically created by ASUS and they look kind of hot. We also have this email widget. Some of them are placed on the screen already. This one is for tasks, this one is for battery. This one is the body buzz widget, this one is the calendar widget, and a bunch more you can see right here. Now I'm going to access the area of the apps and we'll start picking them up one by one and analyzing the list of apps available. As usual, we have app backup and app blocker. On some previous ASUS tablets that we reviewed, they were also present. We have the ASUS Artist if you feel like drawing and scribbling stuff. You can create a birthday card, insert a photo here, or we can start from a blank canvas and you can draw some of the options and stencils and pencils here, various colors, thicknesses, and options to play with. So this is the ASUS Artist application. Next up, we have the ASUS Story application. This one is used for creating a collage. You take your photos, select a bunch of them, and then the story is triggered. You have an action bar, you can add text, you can move photos around, you can zoom into them, add a map, and as I said, you can add text. So that's basically the functionality of the ASUS Story app. There's ASUS To Do, which is basically a to-do list. You can add one more to-do mark, summary, reminder, and due date, importance, folder, and notes. So your typical memo application. Finally, we got that app that I don't quite like. It's called Body Buzz. It's used for social networking, and it has this widget right here. I like the widget more than I like the app. I don't like the app because it has a hard time updating itself properly, especially when I want to see my content. We also have maps. We do have a GPS on this tablet, so it's good to mention that we have apps. Over the past weeks, the Google Maps app has updated quite a lot, and it's actually improved its functionality. As you can see, the menu has been laid out on the left side, reminding me of the idea and the concept of the Google Plus app. At first it may seem to load quite hard in the satellite mode, but then it becomes more fluid as you use it. So these are some of the apps available on the tablet. Continuing the list of applications pre-installed on the tablet, let's see what more can we find. Pretty much the same apps list as the one on the ASUS MeMo Pad FHD10, which includes the My Library Lite. It includes the Super Note Lite, that I like to call a note-taking app on steroids. Of course, it starts off with a tutorial. You can take all sorts of multimedia notes. You can scribble stuff. You can sync stuff in the cloud. You can add colors, you can add photos, pictures from files, audio recording, video, text files, and even timestamps. So a very complex note-taking application that I've shown you in previous reviews of ASUS tablets. There's also the web storage solution for syncing stuff in the cloud and storing it there. And finally, I must show you a nifty little mechanism. If you hold the home button pressed, you'll see a trigger of several shortcuts available here, including the web browser, calculator, calendar, and some Google services. Okay, there's no lag whatsoever on this tablet. I've even played Riptide GP2 on it, which is a new game, a benchmark game, and it worked just fine on this slate. One last mention, I forgot to show you something in the unboxing. Inside the box there was this little plastic dock, and it's very easy to use it. You hold it like this, you place the tablet like this, and you're all set. We have a dock. Of course, if you want to watch a movie, you place it in landscape, and once again you're all set. This is it. This is how you use the dock. It's a nifty little accessory that came inside the box of the device, and it's always welcome to get an accessory. Well, it's that time of the review where we check out the conclusions, the pros and cons of buying the ASUS MeMo Pad HD7. First of all, the price tag, $149 or as low as $129. And recently Amazon started selling the tablet for $99, so very cheap quad-core MediaTek tablet. The price tag is one of its main advantages. The battery life, very impressive, you can even reach 2 days, as I said. The audio part, also impressive, stereo speakers here, loud volume, everything nice. Full HD video capture by this 5MP camera, excellent, thumbs up. There is no lag whatsoever on the tablet doesn't get hot after gaming. Only 36 degrees, as I said earlier. It runs new games, it comes with a dock, and the screen has very nice viewing angles, it's pretty bright, and those are the pros. Now the cons, we have that slight backlight bleed I was mentioning at some point, and then there's a slight feeling of bloatware with all these apps included in here. Some of them will not be used by the people who buy the tablet, and some users may not like the thick plasticky case, but those are the picky ones. This is a cheap tablet and you have to deal with certain aspects. Of course, the case and the screen are both huge fingerprint and grease magnets at the front and back. There's no auto brightness, another cons aspect that some people may feel, and there is a slight camera focus bug, so at certain points when it focuses, this menu here will tend to disappear, like on the MeMo Pad FHD 10. Finally, it's very easy to get your fingers in front of the camera while filming something, because it doesn't stand out too much. Now let's give it some grades. For design, we give the ASUS MeMo Pad HD7 an 8.5 out of 10. For the hardware, a 9.5 out of 10. And finally, for the operating system and user interface, we give it a 9.5 out of 10. So the final grade is 9.16 out of 10. And this is a very fine budget tablet to purchase. Once again, on Amazon it's as low as $99, and it's pretty much a best buy for a quad-core tablet with such a low price and such good quality, especially as far as the camera is concerned and the audio section. That's it from Tablet-News.com. 9.16 out of 10 for this tablet. Bye bye.